The human military ship Intrepid floated in the darkness of space near the edge of the Cygnus system. Captain Jack Miller stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. After 3 months of travel, they had finally found what they were, looking for signs of intelligent alien life. "Are you seeing this, sir?" asked Lieutenant Amy Foster, her voice full of wonder as she pointed to the readings on her console. "I am," Jack replied, leaning forward. "An advanced civilization, right here in our cosmic backyard." The crew watched in amazement as the sensors revealed a planet teeming with technology far beyond Earth's current capabilities. Giant cities covered parts of the alien world. Massive ships moved around it. This was humanity's first contact with a truly advanced alien species. "Open a communication channel," Jack ordered. His heart raced, but his voice remained calm and steady. For days, the humans and aliens exchanged basic information. The aliens called themselves the Zorvani. They seemed peaceful and eager to meet humans in person. Their leader, High Chancellor Tarn, invited a delegation to visit their homeworld. "This could be the greatest diplomatic mission in human history," said Commander Susan Wright during the planning meeting. "They want us to bring families, including children, as a show of trust and peaceful intentions." Some crew members expressed concern, but the opportunity was too important to pass up. Susan would lead the mission, along with Science Officer Alan Peters and Security Chief Maria Garcia. 20 children from the colony ship following the Intrepid would join them. The children, between ages 6 and 12, were excited about meeting real aliens. The human shuttle landed on the alien planet 1 week later. The Zorvani capital city was beautiful. Tall, crystal-like towers stretched into the sky. Strange flying vehicles zipped between buildings. Plants with blue and purple leaves decorated the wide streets. High Chancellor Tarn greeted the humans personally. The alien stood 7 feet tall with light blue skin, 4 arms, and large, intelligent eyes. "Welcome, humans," the alien leader said through a translation device. "We are honored by your presence. Your visit marks the beginning of a new era for both our species." The first 2 days were filled with tours, feasts, and cultural exchanges. The human children were especially popular with the Zorvani. The aliens seemed fascinated by them, taking pictures and asking many questions about human childhood. "The aliens are so nice," said 8-year-old Lily Brennan to her father before he returned to the Intrepid. "They gave us these cool floating toys." Captain Steve Brennan hugged his daughter goodbye. "Be good for Commander Wright. I'll see you in a few days when I come back for the final ceremony." On the 3rd day, Commander Wright woke to find the children missing from their quarters. At first, she thought they might be exploring the building with their alien guides. But when none of the Zorvani would answer her questions directly, she grew worried. "Where are our children?" she demanded during an emergency meeting with Tarn. The alien leader's expression changed, showing what might have been surprise. "They are safe in our evolutionary archives. This is a great honor." "What archives?" "Return them immediately." Susan's hand moved toward her weapon. Alan Peters stepped forward. "High Chancellor, there seems to be a misunderstanding. Please explain what these archives are." The Zorvani leader waved 2 of his 4 hands in a calming gesture. "The evolutionary archives is our greatest achievement. We collect and preserve specimens of all intelligent species we encounter. Your children are perfect examples of developing humans. They will be well cared for and studied throughout their lives." The room fell silent. Maria Garcia positioned her security team between the aliens and the human delegation. "You've taken our children to put them in a zoo?" Susan's voice shook with anger. "Not a zoo," corrected Tarn. "A living museum for scientific research. They will contribute to the knowledge of the galaxy." Susan's face turned red. "This is kidnapping. Return our children now, or there will be serious consequences." The alien seemed genuinely confused by the human's reaction. "Why are you upset? This is the highest honor we can bestow. Many species offer their young willingly for this purpose." "Humans don't," Maria shouted. "Where are they being held?" Instead of answering, Tarn pressed a button on his wrist device. More Zorvani guards entered the room. Weapons ready. I see we have misjudged your species' willingness to contribute to galactic knowledge, the alien leader said coldly. You will return to your ship now. The specimens will remain here. They are not specimens, Susan said through clenched teeth. They are our children. The humans were escorted back to their shuttle at gunpoint. Before leaving, Alan managed to access a Zorvani data terminal. He secretly downloaded information about the facility where the children were being held. As their shuttle took off, Maria looked at Susan with determination in her eyes. What's the plan, Commander? Susan stared at the alien city growing smaller below them. We contact Earth immediately, and then we come back with everything we've got. Back on the Intrepid, Captain Miller received the news with shock and horror. They took our children, all 20 of them? Yes, sir, Susan reported. They see them as specimens for some kind of living museum. They refuse to return them. Jack's face hardened as he gave the order. Send an emergency transmission to Earth Command. Tell them exactly what happened and that we need immediate military support. Use the quantum channel. I want this message to reach Earth in minutes, not days. As the communication officer carried out the order, Jack turned to his crew. The Zorvani have made a terrible mistake. They have no idea what they've done or what's coming for them. In the holding cells of the Evolutionary Archives, 12-year-old Jake Cooper gathered the younger children around him. Don't worry, he told them, trying to sound brave. Our parents will come for us. They'll bring the whole fleet if they have to. Little did the Zorvani know that by imprisoning human children, they had awakened a rage unlike anything their species had ever encountered. The storm was already gathering, and soon it would be unleashed. The emergency message from the Intrepid reached Earth in less than an hour. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Admiral Frank Johnson slammed his fist on the table as the briefing ended. 20 children, taken and imprisoned by aliens, who think they have the right to keep them as living exhibits, he said, his voice tight with anger. This cannot stand. The United Earth Defense Council meeting room was packed with military leaders and government officials. Screens on the walls showed angry crowds gathering in cities across Earth. Parents held signs with pictures of the missing children. News channels ran non-stop coverage of what people were already calling the Zorvani kidnapping. The public is demanding action, said Defense Secretary Lisa Brown. And frankly, so am I. Admiral Johnson nodded. We're mobilizing the largest rescue fleet in human history. Every available combat vessel is being prepared. On the other side of the room sat Captain Steve Brennan. His face was pale and drawn. His daughter Lily was among the captive children. When he spoke, his voice was steady but cold. I request command of the primary assault ship, sir. Admiral Johnson studied the man for a moment. Granted. You'll lead the mission aboard our newest battlecruiser, the Vengeance. It's being rushed through final preparations now. Within 3 days, Captain Brennan stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. The ship was massive, over a mile long and packed with the latest weapons and defense systems. But it wasn't just one ship. Behind the Vengeance waited a fleet of 50 warships, troop carriers, and specialized rescue craft. Status report. Brennan ordered as he took his command chair. Lieutenant Greg Wilson, his tactical officer, turned from his console. All ships report ready, sir. We also have unexpected allies joining us. On the main screen, several non-human vessels appeared. Brennan recognized the distinctive shapes of Tellurian stealth ships and the heavy Praxian battle cruisers. They reached out as soon as they heard what happened, explained Major Diane Kelly, the Marine commander for the rescue operation. Turns out the Zorvani have done similar things to their young in the past. They want to help. Brennan nodded. Send my thanks to their commanders. We'll need all the help we can get. The major handed him a data pad. My team is ready, sir. 40 elite Marines, including combat medic Olivia Morris and tech specialist Paul Fisher. We've been studying the facility plans that Commander Wright's team managed to download. The captain looked at the plans carefully. The children were being held in a heavily guarded research complex on the Zorvani's fourth moon. Getting there wouldn't be easy. One more thing, Major Kelly added. We've been getting messages from inside. The kids are fighting back in their own way. She showed him another screen with intercepted Zorvani communications. The aliens were complaining about the human children causing problems, refusing tests, breaking equipment, and generally making their captivity difficult. A small, sad smile crossed Brennan's face. "That's my girl," he whispered, recognizing his daughter's handiwork in some of the described incidents. While the rescue fleet prepared to jump to the Zorvani system, Earth tried one last diplomatic effort. Ambassador Judy Chen delivered a final message to the Zorvani leadership. "Return our children immediately and we can avoid conflict," she said firmly. "This is your final warning." High Chancellor ZX Tarn's response was dismissive. "Your threats are meaningless. Your primitive ships are no match for our defense grid. The specimens will remain in our care for study." When this response reached the Vengeance, Brennan ordered the fleet to jump. "They think we're primitive," he told his crew. "Let's show them how wrong they are." The human-led coalition arrived at the edge of Zorvani space 6 days after the kidnapping. The alien civilization had extensive sensor networks, but they detected nothing unusual at first. The Tellurian stealth technology was working. "Phase 1 begins now," Brennan announced to the fleet. "All ships, maintain stealth protocols. Advance to your assigned positions." For 12 hours, the coalition ships moved quietly into the Zorvani system, surrounding key military installations and taking positions near the fourth moon. The aliens, confident in their technological superiority, had only minimal patrols active. On the Vengeance's bridge, Lieutenant Wilson monitored the enemy positions. "They really don't expect us to be capable of this," he said with surprise. "Their main defense fleet is still docked." "Their mistake," Brennan replied. "Major Kelly, is your team ready?" The Marine commander stood in the ship's launch bay with her rescue team. They wore advanced combat suits and carried weapons specifically designed to disable rather than destroy. Their mission was to get the children out safely, not to cause unnecessary casualties. "Ready and eager, sir," she replied over the comm link. "Just give the word." Brennan took a deep breath. He opened a channel to all coalition ships. "This is Captain Brennan. In a few minutes, we launch our rescue operation. Remember, our primary goal is to recover the children. Secondary objective is to disable the Zorvani military capability without civilian casualties. These aliens need to learn that taking our children was their worst mistake. But we are not monsters. We do not target innocent lives." He paused, then continued. "The Zorvani believe humans are weak because we care for our young. Today we show them that our love for our children is our greatest strength. All ships, prepare to drop stealth on my mark." Throughout the fleet, weapon systems powered up. Launch bays opened. Soldiers made final checks of their equipment. 3, 2, 1, mark. Suddenly, 50 warships appeared around the Zorvani homeworld and its moons. Before the aliens could react, precision strikes disabled their orbital defense platforms and communication arrays. Transport ships carrying Marine rescue teams raced toward the fourth moon while fighter squadrons engaged the few Zorvani ships that managed to launch. Major Kelly's team boarded their assault shuttle. "Remember your training," she told her Marines. "We go in fast, locate the children, and get out. The fleet will keep the Zorvani busy while we work." As their shuttle detached from the Vengeance and accelerated toward the moon, Kelly watched the battle unfolding around them. The sky was filled with ships and weapons fire. The Zorvani were finally responding, but they had been caught completely unprepared. "They never thought we would come with such force," Paul Fisher said as he checked his equipment. "They really don't understand humans at all." Kelly nodded grimly. "They're about to learn." Major Diane Kelly's shuttle shook violently as it entered the moon's atmosphere. Outside, Zorvani defense towers fired energy beams that lit up the dark sky. 3 other human shuttles flew nearby, each carrying a team of Marines. "Evasive maneuvers," Kelly shouted to her pilot. The shuttle dipped and rolled, barely avoiding the incoming fire. One of the other shuttles wasn't so lucky. A direct hit sent it spiraling down in flames. "Blue team is down," reported Paul Fisher, monitoring the communications. "No survivors." Kelly closed her eyes for a moment. 20 good soldiers gone in an instant. She had trained with many of them. "We push forward," she said firmly. "Red and green teams, adjust your landing zones. We need to hit all entry points." Their shuttle touched down hard behind a ridge about half a mile from the research facility. The Marines rushed out, weapons ready. The facility looked like a massive glass dome surrounded by smaller buildings and defense towers. According to the intel, the children are being held in the central structure, Kelly told her team. We need to disable those towers first. Combat. Medic Olivia Morris checked her equipment one last time. The kids might need medical attention when we find them. We don't know what these aliens have been doing to them. Kelly nodded grimly. Let's move out. The Marines advanced quickly, using the rocky terrain for cover. When they reached the first defense tower, tech specialist Fisher connected his device to the alien control panel. Their security is good, but not good enough, he said, as his fingers flew over the screen. After a few tense minutes, he smiled. Got it. Tower 1 is down. Red and green teams reported similar success with their targets. Soon, all the defense towers were disabled, creating a path to the main facility. Above them, the space battle raged. Captain Brennan's voice came through their comms. Ground teams, status report. We're approaching the main entrance, Kelly replied. Minimal resistance so far. How are things up there? The Zorvani fleet is fully engaged, Brennan said. But they're bringing in reinforcements. We'll keep them busy as long as we can. Get our children out. Inside the Vengeance, Brennan watched the tactical display with growing concern. The initial surprise had given them an advantage, but the Zorvani were rallying. Dozens of alien ships now surrounded the human fleet. Sir, they're powering up something big, Lieutenant Wilson warned. Energy readings off the charts. A massive structure on the Zorvani homeworld began to glow with blue light. Suddenly, a beam shot out, hitting one of the human cruisers. Instead of exploding, the ship crumpled like paper as its crew was crushed by intense gravity. It's some kind of gravity weapon, Wilson explained, horror in his voice. Nothing in our fleet can withstand that. Brennan studied the weapon's location. It was housed in a heavily protected installation on the planet's surface. Their missiles couldn't penetrate its shields. There's only one way to stop it, he said, quietly. Lieutenant, plot a direct course for that weapon. Maximum speed. Wilson looked shocked. Sir, that would mean— I know exactly what it means, Brennan cut him off. Do it and order all personnel to evacuation pods. As the crew scrambled to evacuate, Brennan recorded a quick message for his daughter. Lily, I love you. Be brave. I'll always be with you. He sent it to Major Kelly's team, hoping it would reach his daughter. The Vengeance turned and accelerated toward the Zorvani weapon. Its engines pushed beyond safety limits. The massive ship became a bullet aimed at the heart of the alien superweapon. On the moon's surface, Kelly's team fought their way into the research facility. The Zorvani guards were tall and strong, but the human Marines were fueled by rage and determination. Room by room, they pushed forward. This place is like a maze, Fisher complained as they checked another empty laboratory. Wait, Olivia said, pointing to a wall panel with strange symbols. I think this is a directory. She scanned it with her translator device. Got it. The specimen containment is 2 levels down. They found an elevator and descended deeper into the facility. When the doors opened, they faced a corridor lined with transparent cells. Inside each one was a human child. We found them, Kelly reported over the comm. All teams converge on my location. The Marines rushed forward, checking each cell. The children looked physically unharmed but frightened. Some had been crying. Others stared with empty eyes. Get these cells open now, Kelly ordered Fisher. Olivia, check their condition. As the tech specialist worked on the lock system, Kelly approached a cell containing a boy about 12 years old. He stood straight, meeting her eyes without fear. Are you Jake Cooper? She asked, checking her list. The boy nodded. Yes, ma'am. We knew you'd come. You did well, soldier, Kelly said with respect. How are the others? They tried to separate us, but we fought back, Jake explained. The little ones were scared, so we told them stories about Earth sending an army to rescue us. Well, your stories came true, Kelly said with a small smile. We've got half the fleet up there. Suddenly, their comms crackled with urgent messages. The Vengeance had rammed the Zorvani superweapon, destroying it completely. The explosion was visible even from the moon's surface, a bright flash that momentarily turned night to day. "Captain Brennan," Kelly whispered, knowing what this meant. Fisher finally unlocked the cells. As the doors opened, children rushed out, some crying with relief. Marines gathered them, checking names against their list. All 20 were accounted for. Among them was 8-year-old Lily Brennan. She ran to Kelly, looking around expectantly. "Where's my dad?" she asked. "Is he coming?" Kelly knelt down to the girl's level. "Your dad did something very brave today, Lily. He saved all of us." She handed the girl a data pad with Brennan's final message. As Lily watched her father's face, tears streamed down her cheeks, but then she straightened her small shoulders and wiped her eyes. "He said to be brave," she said. "So I will be." The Marines secured the children and began their retreat to the extraction point. They met fiercer resistance now, as Zorvani security forces converged on their location. "Protect the children at all costs," Kelly ordered, as her team formed a defensive perimeter. The firefight intensified. Several Marines fell, but they kept moving, shields raised to protect the children in their center. They were halfway to the extraction point when they reached a large open area. There, blocking their path, stood a Zorvani in elaborate robes. Unlike the guards, this alien wore no armor. Behind him stood dozens of armed Zorvani. "I am Director Ek Lorn," the alien announced. "The specimens cannot leave. They are too valuable." Kelly stepped forward, her weapon aimed at the alien's head. "You imprisoned human children?" she asked, her voice shaking with controlled rage. "Are you out of your mind?" The alien director tilted his large head, seeming confused by Major Kelly's question. The Marines stood in a protective circle around the children, weapons ready. "They are merely specimens for study, like any other species," Director Ek Lorn said calmly. "Why does this upset you so?" Kelly's finger tightened on her trigger. "These are our children, not specimens, not study subjects. They're young humans with families who love them." The alien blinked his large eyes. "Love? This emotional attachment to offspring is inefficient. We abandoned such primitive instincts centuries ago." Behind Kelly, 8-year-old Lily Brennan pushed forward. Despite the Marines trying to keep her back, she stood beside Kelly and looked up at the tall alien. "My dad just died to save me," she said, her small voice clear and steady. "That's what love is." The director stared at the child, genuinely puzzled. "You would destroy our research facility, sacrifice ships and lives, all for these undeveloped members of your species?" "Every time," Kelly replied without hesitation. For a moment, no one moved. Then Fisher whispered to Kelly, "Commander, I've got a plan. Keep him talking." While Kelly continued the standoff with Ek Lorn, Fisher quietly worked on his data pad. Behind them, Olivia Morris gathered the children closer, whispering instructions. "Your species is still young," the director continued, his tone almost pitying. "Perhaps in time you will evolve beyond these emotional attachments." Kelly shook her head. "We hope we never do. Our love for our children is what makes us human." Suddenly, the lights in the facility flickered and went out. Emergency lighting came on, bathing everything in dim red light. "Now!" Fisher shouted. Olivia threw several small devices that exploded into thick smoke. The Marines activated their night vision and moved swiftly, grabbing the children and pushing through the confused Zorvani guards. "Stop them!" Ek Lorn shouted. But the smoke and darkness made it difficult for the aliens to see. The Marines fought their way through, heading toward a side exit Fisher had discovered in the facility plans. Several Marines fell during the escape, but the majority of the team made it through with all the children. Outside, they ran toward the extraction point where their remaining shuttle waited. Behind them, alarms blared throughout the facility. Zorvani guards poured out of every exit searching for them. "Almost there," Kelly encouraged as they crossed the rocky terrain. The children were exhausted but kept moving. The older ones helped the younger ones, carrying them when necessary. Jake Cooper, the 12-year-old who had kept the other children's spirits up during captivity, suddenly pointed to the sky. "Look, Through gaps in the clouds, they could see flashes of light as the space battle continued. The human fleet was heavily engaged with Zorvani forces. "Will they leave us behind?" one of the younger children asked fearfully. "Never," Kelly promised. "No one gets left behind." Their shuttle came into view just as Zorvani vehicles appeared on the horizon. The Marines quickened their pace, practically carrying the smaller children now. "Get them on board," Kelly ordered as they reached the shuttle. "Fisher, contact the fleet. Tell them we have the children and need immediate extraction." As the children boarded, Kelly and her remaining Marines formed a defensive line. The Zorvani vehicles were closing fast. "We can't all fit," the pilot called out after counting heads. "The shuttle's too damaged to carry full weight." Kelly made a quick decision. "Take the children and as many Marines as possible. I'll stay with a volunteer team to hold them off." "I'm staying," Fisher said immediately. "Me too," added Olivia Morris. 3 other Marines stepped forward as well. The rest boarded the shuttle with the children. As the shuttle's engines fired up, Lily ran back down the ramp. "You have to come too," she cried, grabbing Kelly's hand. Kelly knelt down and looked the girl in the eyes. "I'll be right behind you on the next shuttle, I promise." It wasn't exactly true, but it got Lily back on board. The shuttle lifted off just as the first Zorvani vehicles arrived. Kelly and her small team opened fire, giving the shuttle time to gain altitude. "Well, it's been an honor," Fisher said as they took cover behind rocks. Suddenly, the ground shook. A massive shadow fell over them as a human assault carrier descended from the clouds, its weapons blazing at the Zorvani vehicles. A voice boomed over external speakers. "Major Kelly, need a ride?" Kelly recognized the voice of Lieutenant Wilson from the Vengeance. "Wilson, we thought everyone went down with the ship." Captain Brennan ordered a full evacuation before impact, Wilson explained as a smaller shuttle deployed from the carrier. "He's the only one who stayed behind. Now come on, let's get out of here." Kelly and her team ran for the shuttle, still fighting off Zorvani troops. As they lifted off, she looked back at the research facility. Part of it was now in flames. In orbit, the human fleet was beginning to withdraw, their mission accomplished. The Zorvani fleet, while still largely intact, seemed hesitant to pursue. The destruction of their superweapon had clearly shocked them. On the main command ship that had taken over fleet operations, Admiral Johnson welcomed the rescued children. Medical teams checked each child carefully while communications officers helped them contact their families back on Earth. Lily Brennan sat quietly in a corner, holding the datapad with her father's last message. Lieutenant Wilson approached her gently. "Your dad was the bravest man I ever knew," he said, sitting beside her. Lily nodded, tears in her eyes. "He said to be brave, so I'm trying." "You are brave," Wilson assured her. "Just like him." Across the room, Major Kelly met with Admiral Johnson to debrief. "Sir, there's something important you should know about the Zorvani. They genuinely don't understand our attachment to our children. It's not just cruelty. They evolved differently. They don't form family bonds like we do." The Admiral frowned. "That doesn't excuse what they did." "No, sir, it doesn't," Kelly agreed. "But it might help us prevent this from happening again. They need to understand that taking anyone's children from any species will always lead to conflict." Johnson nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps some good can come from this tragedy after all." As they spoke, a communication came in from the Zorvani homeworld. To everyone's surprise, it wasn't from High Chancellor Zekex Tarn, but from a different alien who introduced himself as Sub-Chancellor Viernex. "We wish to discuss terms," the new Zorvani said. "Recent events have caused reconsideration among our leadership." Admiral Johnson raised an eyebrow. "It seems your rescue mission did more than just save our children, Major. It might have sparked a change in Zorvani society itself." Kelly looked around at the rescued children, thinking of Captain Brennan's sacrifice and all the others who had given their lives. "Let's make sure it was worth it," she said quietly. 1 month after the rescue, Earth celebrated the safe return of all 20 children. The cost had been high. 37 human soldiers had died, including the crew who went down with the transport during the initial landing. The Vengeance was destroyed, though most of its crew had survived thanks to Captain Brennan's evacuation order before his sacrifice. In Washington, D.C., a special ceremony honored those who had died. Families of the fallen received medals, and the rescued children placed flowers at a new memorial. Lily Brennan stood at the front, a small figure in a blue dress, as she placed a white rose for her father. "He saved us all," she said simply when asked to speak. After the public ceremony, Admiral Johnson met with Earth's leaders and the newly promoted Colonel Diane Kelly to discuss the ongoing negotiations with the Zorvani. Sub-Chancellor Veer Nex has taken control of their government, Johnson explained. Apparently, there was already an underground movement against the practice of collecting specimens from other species. Our attack gave them the opportunity to challenge the old leadership. "Can we trust them?" asked President Richard Cole. Colonel Kelly spoke up. "I believe we can, sir. Farnex has already released other species that were being held in their facilities. His faction seems genuinely interested in establishing new relations based on mutual respect." The president looked thoughtful. "Very well. Ambassador Chen will continue the diplomatic talks but will maintain a strong military presence in that sector. Trust needs to be earned." Meanwhile, the children were adjusting to life back on Earth. Most had returned to their families, but they stayed in touch with each other. The shared experience had created a special bond between them. Jake Cooper, now 13, had become something of a leader among them. He organized regular video calls where they could talk about their feelings and help each other cope with nightmares and fears. "We're like a family now," he told his parents. "We need to stick together." The children also received counseling and support from specialists who understood trauma. Some bounced back quickly, while others needed more time. But all showed remarkable resilience. 3 months after the rescue, an unexpected visitor arrived at Earth's orbital station. Sub-Chancellor Viranex came in person with only a small security team to formally apologize for his species' actions. "We were wrong," he said, during the televised meeting with Earth's leaders. "For generations, we have collected specimens from across the galaxy. Believing it was our right as an advanced civilization, we never stopped to consider the pain we caused." President Cole accepted the apology but made Earth's position clear. "We want peaceful relations with all species, but the safety of our people, especially our children, is non-negotiable." Viranex nodded his large head. "We understand now. Your response to our actions has forced a complete reassessment of our policies. The evolutionary archives have been closed permanently." The most powerful moment came later when Viranex asked to meet with the children and their families. At first, many parents refused, not wanting their children anywhere near a Zorvani. But Jake Cooper convinced them it might help with healing. "We need to see them as people, not monsters," he argued. "Otherwise, we'll be afraid forever." The meeting took place in a neutral location with heavy security. Viranex brought several Zorvani families, including some with young offspring, something humans had never seen before. Lily Brennan, still grieving her father, was initially reluctant to attend. But her mother, Sarah, encouraged her. "Your dad would want us to help build peace, not hold on to hate," she told her daughter gently. When the meeting began, it was tense and awkward. The humans and Zorvani stood on opposite sides of the room, watching each other cautiously. Then one small Zorvani child, no more than the equivalent of 6 Earth years, approached Lily with a drawing. The simple picture showed human and Zorvani, children holding hands. The young alien offered it shyly to Lily, who hesitated before accepting it. "Thank you," she said quietly. The ice broken, other children from both species began to interact. The adults watched in amazement as natural curiosity overcame fear and painful memories. Translators worked overtime as questions flew back and forth. "Do you go to school? Why is your skin that color? How many fingers do your people have? What games do you play?" By the end of the meeting, something remarkable had happened. The beginnings of understanding had formed, not through diplomatic talks or treaties, but through the natural openness of children. 6 months after the rescue, a joint human-Zorvani memorial was established in orbit between their two systems. The structure housed the names of all who had died in the conflict, along with a simple message in both languages: that our children may grow together in peace. Captain Steve Brennan's name was given special prominence, along with a quote from his final message: "Love is our greatest strength." Most surprising of all was the discovery made by medical teams studying information from the Zorvani archives. The aliens had not always been emotionally detached from their young. Historical records showed that earlier in their evolution, they had formed family bonds similar to humans. This natural instinct had been deliberately bred out over generations by their leadership, who viewed emotional attachments as inefficient. Under Virnex's new government, Zorvani society began to rediscover these lost connections. Scientists from both species worked together to understand how emotional bonds affected different civilizations across the galaxy. 1 year after the conflict, Lily Brennan stood with her mother at the viewport of a space station, watching a Zorvani ship dock. Lieutenant Wilson, now Captain Wilson, stood nearby. "Are you nervous?" he asked Lily. She shook her head. "No. Dad would want me to be brave." The airlock opened, and Sub-Chancellor Virnex emerged with his family. Behind them came a surprise: a human man in a hover chair, his body still recovering from severe injuries. "Dad!" Lily screamed, running forward. Captain Steve Brennan opened his arms to his daughter. He had been found in an escape pod, barely alive, weeks after the battle. The Zorvani medical team had kept him in stasis while they healed his worst injuries, uncertain if he would survive. As father and daughter embraced, humans and Zorvani alike watched with new understanding. The rage that had been unleashed by the kidnapping had led to destruction, but also to an unexpected opportunity for growth. "I told you I'd always be with you," Brennan whispered to his daughter. Virnex stepped forward. "Captain Brennan's courage helped us see the truth. The strongest civilizations are not those who collect specimens or build weapons. They are those who love their children enough to risk everything for them." Earth and Zorvan still had many differences to overcome, but they had taken the first steps toward a future where both species' children could grow up without fear of each other. And it had all begun with a simple truth that crossed the boundaries of species and space. You don't imprison children, ever.